Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson,
And I'm Nikki.
and we are button mash murderers. We're not murderers. We're we talk about murder. We talk about murders.
And
Is what we
button
do.
mashing.
And we want to ask you this question: Are you a fan of detailed and well-crafted crime documentaries? Do you love mediocre at best video game let's plays? Well, then we have the channel for you, made specifically for your strange taste. Nikki, do you want to tell us what this channel is all about?
Yes. So, as far as the murders part goes, it's a little bit wider than just murders. So, for myself, just weird, weird stuff, right? Strange phenomena, of course, murder, cults, just weird, weird stuff. And then and I'm going to use the word everybody else uses. I don't the panini during panini. I'm going with the paninis. There was like a total explosion of true crime, and I totally was on the wave, riding the wave. I was into it. So I learned a lot of stuff, and when me and Nelson have been just hanging out because I hang out with him while he plays his video games. When certain things come up on the games, I've started just talking to him about just random stuff that just sounds like completely not even true, just weird random stuff. And that's kind of how the idea for this channel was born.
And a lot of these stories I'm hearing for the first time. So I'm going to be learning alongside with you. And as far as my part, I just basically hear the summary of the story and choose a game loosely based on that. So I know there's a detective in it. So I picked a mouse detective shooting game. So simple as that. I'm ready to go if you are.
Yeah, yeah. This is a noir mobster detective story.
And this is a very noir mouse cheese game. Very, very cool.
Yeah, and this story that I'm telling you today is actually kind of like two stories because of who the detective on the case was. His name was Elliot Ness, and he's pretty famous for being the head detective of the Untouchables, the people who took down Al Capone.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the case itself is a little less well known, so I was actually kind of intrigued myself to learn more about this. And the case is known as America's Jack the Ripper case.
That is cool.
Yeah, so the book I got is
It's
called.
not cool. It's not cool, but
Well,
it's
no,
cool.
no, it's not cool. It's just it's interesting that there's this story that's very unknown.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. So the book is American Demon, Elliot Ness, and the Hunt for America's Jack the Ripper by Daniel Stashower. And apparently he's written quite a few of these kinds of true crime books. And yeah, do we want to talk about anything else? Do you want me to get
I'm ready. I'm ready to
straight
hear
into
this
it?
story. I've been looking at the book for a few weeks, and I am ready to finally hear it.
Okay. So this is the first chapter. It's entitled "Lady of in the Lake." It is the name that they ended up giving the unfortunate first victim, who at the time they had no idea was, the first victim in this string of murders. So, this starts on September 5th, 1934. A gentleman named Frank Legacy, who was a 34-year-old photostat operator. He liked to walk around on the southern shore of Lake Erie looking for driftwood.
Yeah, looking for driftwood,
He does. That's a hobby.
not murdering people.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not murdering them and pretending he found them. So, he was around the archway of the Euclid Beach amusement park, which was kind of like Cleveland's version of New York's Coney Island. And around 8 in the morning, he caught sight of something. And initially, he thought it was a tree trunk, half buried in the sand. And when he moved closer, he saw that the object was, in fact, a slab of human flesh. Yeah. When he stepped back to make sense of what he was seeing, it was the lower half of a woman's torso severed midway through the spine. The legs, still attached, had been hacked off at the knees.
Oof.
So, yeah, we don't, I'm visualizing this, and I'm seeing no arms, no head, and then, yeah, no lower legs.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty gruesome, the descriptions in here. It says, from the distance, it looked almost like, a busted up mannequin. So, the gentleman went and he made phone calls, and within a few hours, they got it to the morgue where a gentleman named Coroner Pierce took charge.
Okay.
Do you want to, do we want to take a break to describe what's going on in this game, or?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty simple. I'm a detective and I'm going around and murdering many people and taking their
Oh,
money, and yeah, there's a lot of I've murdered a lot of mice so far.
are
So,
are you a PI or you're?
yeah, I'm a PI. I'm
Oh,
I'm a detective, so
so you're not doing this in the name of the law.
no, I
Okay.
I have no authority to do all the stuff that I'm doing.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
It's it's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice, but fun game nonetheless.
Okay. So, moving on to the coroner's report. So, we're in the 30s, and looking at what he had, he realized pretty quickly that they weren't going to be able to establish her identity. They didn't have a head or hands, so, no facial features, no dental work, no fingerprints. So, pretty much all he could do was just get, some secondary clues. So,
Could he do like an age, anything like that, or just
yeah.
nothing?
Yeah, he was able to do that. He was able to take note of an abdominal scar indicating a hysterectomy, which I didn't know they had hysterectomies in the 30s. So she had a hysterectomy about a year or more before death. The time of death was about 6 to 8 months prior to discovery, but the remains had been in the water just a short amount of time.
Oh, so they were moved,
Yeah.
and huh. I wonder if it was meant to be discovered.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Why would you keep a body for a minimum of half a year before dumping it? And,
Yeah.
part of the question is, was it like dumped in the water and it washed up, or did they put it there because they wanted people to see it? So he was able to estimate that she was 5'6" and roughly 125 pounds,
Oh wow.
in the mid to late 30s. So that's all he was able to get as far as, what her, I don't know, is statistics the right word? What would the right word be? Like the kind of stuff you put out for a missing person. kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. The their height, weight,
Yeah.
all that kind of jazz.
Yeah. Um, so the biggest clue that they had, though, which wasn't like who she was, but unmistakable evidence, and that's in quotes, is that the body had been doused in some sort of chemical preservative, which gave the skin a hardened, leathery quality, described in some accounts as reddish. So when they sent the skin sample to local experts, they identified the chemical as a form of slaked lime, like SLAKE, slaked lime.
And what is that chemical normally used for?
It's a preservative. I don't know what it's normally used to preserve, but it is a preservative.
So like jams?
I, I don't know. You got me. I'd have to look that up. But the big thing is, people at times in different crimes, I've noticed, and I think Ed Ed Gein, he's one that came up.
That's another person I don't know
No, no, no,
much
no, no,
about.
no, no. I'm wrong. It's John Wayne Gacy.
Oh,
He
okay.
used it.
Yes.
That's what it is. Okay. So quicklime is used. Quicklime is what killers will use to hasten the decomposition of the body. It's caustic quicklime, but it's a big mistake to get slaked lime because it's the complete opposite. It's a preservative. So the big the big reason why that's a huge clue is that like completely rules out that there was some sort of grisly accident, and her body just washed up because, you know, that obviously has a human hand involved with it. So, with that and the close examination of the severed vertebrae, which show the work of a delicate, sharp knife, is what he said at the time, that there is no question but this case is a murder.
I am having
Fisticuffs.
I am having a tough time. So
With
I'm,
the game, or
I am really trying not to restart this game, but my skill level is like two notches below the hardest difficulty on this. So I'm gonna try it one more time, and I might just restart, but
are you going to go to normal?
maybe I do not want to because I'm stubborn.
You are.
But we'll see. But you can keep on with the story, and I'll figure out what's gonna happen here.
Okay. All right. So, eager reports. Okay. So, the newspaper the next day reported that the torso was severed between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, apparently with a surgical instrument, and the lower limbs were severed at the knee joints. That part of the spinal column had been hacked away and the head and shoulders missing. So the following day, a handyman named Joseph Hedjuk read the story in the morning paper and felt a shock of recognition because 2 weeks earlier, in North Perry, which is 30 miles east of the city, he had made a similar discovery. He had come across what he had believed to be the vertebrae and ribs of a human body. The bones had a scant amount of fish flesh remaining, and beside them lay a dead seagull.
Dead seagull.
Yes.
So he knew. Did he call anyone? Did he call the police?
He immediately reported it to the local deputy sheriff. And the sheriff was like, that's an animal carcass. Just kick sand on it.
Did he really?
Yes.
Okay.
He mistook it for an animal carcass and instructed him to just bury it in the sand.
It says that in the book?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'm quoting right there.
What a awesome sheriff,
Yeah.
truly.
So when this guy read that, he realized what he might have inadvertently buried. So he called the police, and he was leading a group of detectives soon on a search. So the coroner acknowledged that that kind of fit the idea with what was missing. And also the dead seagull kind of piqued his interest because the chemical that was on the parts that they found was possible to kill a seagull if
If ingested.
if the seagull was ingesting
Okay.
the remains.
But do seagulls eat people? Like dead people?
I think we find through this book at least one seagull.
A cannibal seagull.
Well, it's not a cannibal.
Well, meat eating seagull.
Right. Right. So one seagull did.
Okay.
So the next morning, because they couldn't find it the same day, but the next morning, he found the spot, and it was a match. It included 3 lumbar and 12 dorsal vertebrae of the spine, ribs, section of the right shoulder blade, and most of the upper back. And the coroner declared that it indisputably was a match. And it also had the preservative on it too. So,
Oh, the red preservative. Okay.
yep, it was for sure a match. So he did actually change his mind. Oh, what's going over here in Mousetown?
A lot of murder. There's still just murder. I'm just murdering people. I'm button mashing and
Button
murdering.
mashing and murdering.
So it's perfect for the inaugural episode.
That guy just looked like he was making a speech. So.
Yeah, it's just indiscriminate at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just happening. A detective just on a shooting spree.
As one is wont to
Yeah.
do. So, okay. So, Coroner Pierce changed his mind. He decided that instead of it being, a sure hand with a delicate knife, he decided that it was a saw. And then he said, no surgeon would use a saw. A surgeon would know how to manipulate a knife around the joint. So,
But don't surgeons use like bone saws?
yeah, but I think that's when you're like literally sawing through I'm not a surgeon. Sawing through a bone, but he's saying like, like if you're detaching joints, you wouldn't just like a surgeon would know how to do it with a knife.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. They got frustrated over the fact that they could not be certain of the cause of the death without knowing who she was. They couldn't figure out what the motive was. And the trail got cold. Yeah. They couldn't really figure out too much more than that.
Did they put it in the paper? That they had reached an impasse, or just kind of disappeared for a little while.
They did. They tried, but they the newspapers dubbed her the Lady of the Lake. They got a whole lot of phone calls that led to nothing. In fact, since you ask, I wasn't going to mention it, but since you ask, a young girl swimming in the waters of the East Side Beach reported seeing a ghostly hand waving at her from below the waves.
Wow.
She ran home and told her father, and he promised to look the next day, and then he also saw the hand waving at him. And
Really?
yeah, there was a lot of things like that, which they looked, and only the first call yielded actual human parts. None of the other calls did. So there was nothing else that they were able to find.
Wow.
They worked all the leads. They questioned hundreds of people, and they went through miles of sewers, and that was it. So between, what did I say that they found her? first. They first found her on September 5th. On September 11th, they quietly interred her remains in a potter's field. And
What is a potter's field?
I believe that's kind of like a cemetery that's more for people that are,
Potters.
no, I wonder why they call it Potter's Field. But I think it's more like for people that don't have family or they're unknown. You know, the Jane and John Does and unfortunate souls.
So they have a whole field for John Doe's? Jane Doe's?
Maybe. You know, I also, and I could totally be wrong about this, but I also think that if there were like religious cemeteries and you were someone that like lived a certain life or you died a certain way that they didn't approve of you, that you couldn't be buried in that religious cemetery. So maybe they buried such persons in the potter's field.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. Yeah. So that is the end of what we know of the Lady of the Lake.
That's it? They don't find out anything else about her?
No.
Wow.
We end up finding a lot more as time goes on, but I don't believe, and I read forward quite a bit, and I don't think we ever learned anything more of her.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And to tell the truth, I think there was more male victims than there were female.
Really?
She wasn't the only, but yeah. Yeah, the next scene is going to be pretty rough.
So that's it for now?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. The first chapter's just barely brought up Elliot Ness, but I think I'd like to give Elliot Ness his due and, really go into his background and the whole, I don't know, the whole Al Capone thing. That's a big deal.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well,
Prohibition.
I finally got past the part, so I'm not a total lame person.
No, and we were at, you're not a lame person. And not at all. And we were at the water. There was a little steamboat. Was it a steamboat?
He just kind of dived into the water, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So-
okay,
so
sounds
that's where
good.
it ends
Well,
right now.
we will continue on next time with Jack Pepper, which is the mouse, because there's a lot of cheese jokes, which is great. Jack Pepper and the American Demon. See you next time.
Bye.